The alarm buzzed through the bridge of the galactic survey vessel Zenith Prime. Chief xenobiologist Kethver looked up from his datapad with 6 tired eyes. He had been working for 3 days straight, trying to make sense of the readings from the small blue planet in the Sol system. "This makes no sense," he muttered to himself in the clicking language of his people. His 4 arms moved quickly across the control panel, pulling up scan after scan of the mysterious world. The planet showed signs of intelligent life, but the environmental readings were completely wrong. The door to the bridge opened with a soft hiss. Captain Zorthak walked in, his massive frame filling the doorway. The old warrior had seen many strange things in his years of space travel, but even he looked puzzled. "Report?" Captain Zorthak said in his deep voice. Kethver's antennae twitched with stress. "Sir, we have a problem. The AI has flagged this planet 3 times for data corruption. The readings show impossible conditions for intelligent life." "Explain." "The planet has extreme temperature changes. In some areas, the temperature drops so low that water becomes solid. In other areas, it gets so hot that water turns to gas. The weather patterns are chaotic. There are massive storms that move across the surface with winds strong enough to destroy buildings." Captain Zorthak's scales rippled with concern. "And you believe intelligent life exists there?" "The energy signatures suggest advanced technology. Radio waves indicate communication networks. But, sir, the geological activity alone should make life impossible. The planet's crust moves and shifts constantly. Mountains rise and fall. The ocean floors crack and spew molten rock. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy on the 3rd planet from Sol, Captain Jake Morrison was having a much more peaceful day. He floated through the corridors of the International Space Station, checking on his crew's morning routines. Outside the large windows, Earth turned slowly below them, showing the familiar blue oceans and white clouds that Jake had loved since childhood. "Morning, Captain," called Lisa Park from the communications station. She was a small woman with bright eyes and quick hands that danced across her control panels. "We're getting some unusual readings from the deep space scanners." Jake pushed off from a wall and floated over to her station. "What kind of readings?" "Something big is moving in from beyond Neptune. The energy signature doesn't match any known technology. It's been accelerating toward us for the past 6 hours." Jake felt his stomach tighten. After 20 years in space, he had learned to trust his instincts. "Alert the crew. Get everyone to their stations. And Lisa, try to get a better scan of whatever is coming our way." Back on the Zenith Prime, Kethver was still struggling with the data. He called up the planet's atmospheric readings on his main screen. The gas mixture was toxic to most known life forms. The oxygen levels were dangerously high. The planet had 2 polar ice caps that grew and shrank with regular cycles. Weather patterns included violent electrical storms and spiraling wind systems that could cover entire continents. "This planet should be classified as uninhabitable," Kethver said to his assistant, a young female named Sylphan. "Yet we are detecting cities, roads, and what appears to be spacefaring technology." Sylphan looked at the readings with her large, dark eyes. "Perhaps the life forms are not carbon-based like us. Maybe they evolved in these extreme conditions. That's impossible. No known life form can survive such environmental chaos. The planet experiences regular catastrophic events. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, droughts. The magnetic field fluctuates wildly. The planet is bombarded by radiation from its star." On Earth, Jake Morrison was now strapped into his command chair as the strange object continued to approach. Ryan Bell, the station's chief engineer, was running diagnostics on all systems. Katie Stone, their medical officer, was preparing the emergency medical bay just in case. "Captain," Lisa called out, "I'm picking up some kind of transmission. It's not like anything in our databases, but there's definitely a pattern to it." "Can you decode it? Working on it now?" "The signal is complex, but there are mathematical sequences that suggest intelligence." Jake looked out at the stars and wondered what was coming toward them. Humanity had always hoped for first contact with alien life, but they had never expected it to happen during a routine training mission. The transmission suddenly cleared, and a new voice filled the communication channel. The words were strange, but somehow the meaning was clear in everyone's minds. Unknown vessel orbiting the third planet. This is the Galactic Survey ship Zenith Prime. We are conducting a peaceful scientific survey of your system. Please respond. Jake felt his heart racing. This was it. First contact. He took a deep breath and activated the communication system. Zenith Prime, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Vessel International Space Station. We welcome you to our solar system. We are peaceful and interested in communication. There was a long pause before the alien voice responded. Captain Morrison, we are surprised to receive your transmission. Our scans indicate that your planet is a Class X hazardous environment. How are you able to survive in such conditions? Jake looked at Lisa, who shrugged her shoulders. I'm not sure I understand your question. Earth is our home. We evolved here. Another pause, longer this time. When the alien voice returned, it sounded stressed. Captain Morrison, our readings show that your planet experiences temperature variations of over 100 degrees. Your weather systems include violent storms with winds exceeding 200 units of speed. Your geological activity creates massive destruction on a regular basis. No intelligent life should be able to survive such conditions. Jake couldn't help but smile. We call those seasons, weather, and earthquakes. Yes, they can be dangerous, but we've learned to adapt. We build our homes to withstand storms and earthquakes. We use the changing seasons to grow food. The weather gives us fresh water through rain and snow. The silence from the alien ship lasted so long that Jake wondered if they had lost communication. Finally, the voice returned, and it sounded almost frightened. Captain Morrison, we must meet to discuss this situation. However, we cannot approach your planet. It is too dangerous for our crew. Would you be willing to meet us in space, away from your hazardous world? Jake looked around at his crew. They all nodded their agreement. We would be honored to meet with you. Where would you like to conduct this meeting? We will establish a neutral meeting point at the edge of your solar system. Please bring representatives of your species. We must understand how you have survived on such an impossible world. As the transmission ended, Jake felt a mixture of excitement and confusion. The aliens seemed genuinely afraid of Earth. They called it hazardous and impossible, but to Jake and his crew, it was simply home. Lisa, contact Earth Command, tell them we need to prepare for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. And make sure they know that our new alien friends think we're living on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. Lisa smiled as she began sending the message to Earth. This should be interesting. Jake looked out at the blue and white marble that was Earth, turning slowly below them. He had always thought it was the most beautiful planet in the universe. Now he was about to learn that the rest of the galaxy thought it was the most terrifying place they had ever encountered. The adventure was just beginning. 3 days later, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the airlock of the newly built diplomatic shuttle. Terra 1, the small ship had been constructed in record time by the best engineers on Earth. Behind him, Dr. Elena Rodriguez checked her equipment. For the 10th time. She was Earth's leading scientist and had been chosen to represent humanity's scientific community. Are you ready for this? Jake asked her. Elena looked up from her datapad and smiled nervously. As ready as anyone can be. For meeting aliens who think we're living on a death planet. The shuttle pilot, Ryan Bell, called from the cockpit. We're approaching the meeting station now? It's bigger than I expected. Jake moved to the window and looked out at the massive structure floating in space. The alien station was unlike anything humans had ever built. It looked like a giant flower made of metal and crystal with long petals extending from a central hub. Soft lights pulsed along its surface in patterns that seemed almost alive. Beautiful, Elena whispered, and probably designed to keep us as far away from them as possible, Jake replied. The docking process took longer than expected. The alien station's computers had to adjust to human technology, and the humans had to learn the alien docking procedures. Finally, with a soft thump, Terra 1 connected to the station. Jake, Elena, and their small team of diplomats and scientists put on their environmental suits and walked through the airlock. The station's atmosphere was safe for humans, but they wanted to be prepared for anything. The first thing Jake noticed was the size of everything. The corridors were much larger than needed for humans, and the ceiling was at least 12 feet high. The walls were covered with screens showing star charts and what looked like environmental data from thousands of different worlds. "Welcome to Neutral Station 1, came a voice from speakers in the walls. "Please proceed to Conference Room Alpha. Your hosts are waiting." They walked through the wide corridors, their footsteps echoing in the large space. Elena kept looking at the screens on the walls, trying to understand the alien writing and symbols. "Look at this," she said, stopping in front of a large display. "These appear to be environmental readings from different planets. The temperature ranges are tiny compared to Earth. Most of these worlds have weather variations of less than 10 degrees throughout their entire year." Jake studied the display. "No wonder they think Earth is dangerous. Their planets are like living in a perfect climate-controlled room." They reached the conference room and the doors opened automatically. Inside, 3 alien beings were waiting for them. Jake had seen pictures from the first contact, but seeing them in person was still shocking. The leader was Captain Zorthak, a massive creature covered in thick scales. He stood nearly 8 feet tall and had arms like tree trunks. His eyes were small and set deep in his skull, but they seemed kind. Next to him stood Kethver, the scientist who had first detected Earth. He was much smaller, with 6 eyes on stalks and 4 thin arms. His skin was a pale blue color, and he moved with quick, nervous gestures. The third alien was new to Jake. She was introduced as Ambassador Zeftai, a tall, elegant being with smooth gray skin and large, dark eyes. She spoke in a musical voice that seemed to come from somewhere deep in her chest. "Welcome, humans," Ambassador Zeftai said. "Please sit, we have much to discuss." The humans took their seats at a table that had been specially built for the meeting. The alien furniture was too large for them, but smaller chairs had been provided. "Before we begin," Ambassador Zeftai continued, "we must share with you our deep space survey findings. What we are about to show you may help explain why we are so concerned about your world." The room darkened and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy, with thousands of stars marked in different colors. "Green stars indicate worlds with intelligent life," Kethver explained, his voice clicking and buzzing. "Blue stars show worlds that could support life but have no intelligent species. Red stars mark worlds that are too dangerous for any known life form." Jake studied the map. There were hundreds of green stars, thousands of blue ones, and only a few red ones scattered throughout the galaxy. "Where is Earth?" Elena asked. Kethver's antennae twitched nervously. "That is the problem. According to our classification system, Earth should be marked in red. It is more dangerous than any world we have ever encountered that supports intelligent life." Ambassador Zeftai gestured, and the display changed to show a detailed chart. "This is our standard Deathworld classification system. It has been used by the galactic community for over 10,000 years. Elena leaned forward, studying the chart. "What makes a world dangerous in your system?" "Class A worlds are paradise planets," Zeftai explained. "Stable climate, no geological activity, predictable weather patterns, and abundant resources. Most civilized species evolved on Class A worlds. Class B worlds have minor environmental challenges," Kethver added. "Perhaps seasonal temperature, changes of 5 to 10 degrees, or occasional mild storms. Class C worlds have moderate challenges," Zeftai continued. "Temperature variations up to 20 degrees, some geological activity, stronger weather patterns." Jake was beginning to understand. "And Earth?" "Earth is beyond our classification system," Kethver said, his voice filled with amazement. "If we had to classify it, it would be Class 10. We have only seen 3 other Class X worlds in our entire galaxy, and none of them support any form of life." The holographic display changed again, showing images of different alien worlds. Jake and Elena watched in wonder as they saw planets with perfectly calm weather, stable temperatures, and peaceful environments. "This is Altair Prime, my homeworld," Zeftai said proudly. The temperature varies by only 2 degrees throughout the year. We have had no earthquakes in over 1 million years. Our weather consists of gentle breezes and light rainfall on schedule. This is Rigel 7, Kethver added, showing another world. The most geologically active planet in our region. It experiences minor tremors perhaps once every 1,000 years. The weather patterns are so predictable that we can forecast them accurately for centuries in advance. Elena looked at Jake with wide eyes. No wonder they think Earth is impossible. Captain Zorthak spoke for the first time since the meeting began. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Tell us about your world's dangers. Help us understand how you survive. Jake thought for a moment. Well, our weather changes with the seasons. In winter, temperatures can drop to -40 degrees. In summer, they can reach over 100 degrees. All three aliens made sounds of distress. Kethver's antennae started twitching rapidly. That is a temperature variation of 140 degrees, he said. No known life form can survive such extremes. We adapt, Elena said simply. We wear different clothing for different seasons. We build our homes to stay warm in winter and cool in summer. We have technology to help us survive in extreme conditions. What about your geological activity? Zeftai asked. We have earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis, Jake replied. They can be dangerous, but we've learned to predict them and prepare for them. We build our cities to withstand earthquakes. We have warning systems for tsunamis. And your weather? Kethver asked. Elena smiled. We have thunderstorms with lightning that can split trees in half. We have hurricanes with winds over 200 miles per hour. We have tornadoes that can destroy entire towns. We have blizzards that can bury buildings in snow. The three aliens sat in stunned silence. Finally, Ambassador Zeftai spoke. How do you survive? How do you build a civilization on such a world? We work together, Jake said. When disasters happen, we help each other. We share resources, we rebuild what is destroyed. We learn from each disaster and become stronger. But why do you stay? Zorthek asked. Why not leave such a dangerous world? Jake and Elena looked at each other and smiled. Because it's home, Elena said simply. Earth made us who we are. The challenges made us strong. The dangers taught us to work together. The changing seasons give us variety and beauty. We wouldn't want to live anywhere else? The aliens exchanged glances that clearly said they thought the humans were completely insane. We need time to process this information, Ambassador Zeftai said finally. We have never encountered a species that chooses to live in such conditions. Your very existence challenges everything we know about intelligent life. As the meeting ended, Jake realized that this was just the beginning. The aliens didn't just think Earth was dangerous. They thought humans were impossible. The next day brought more surprises. Jake Morrison woke up in his assigned quarters on the alien station to find that 3 more ships had arrived during the night. Through his window, he could see vessels of different shapes and sizes, all belonging to various alien species who had heard about the impossible humans from the Deathworld. Captain Morrison, came Ambassador Zeftai's voice through the communication system. We have a special guest who has traveled far to meet you, Dr. Vexahan. From the Rigel Institute is the galaxy's leading expert on impossible life forms. Jake met Elena and the rest of his team in the corridor. They all looked tired but excited. Today would be different from yesterday's meeting about planetary conditions. Today, the aliens wanted to study human biology. I've been thinking about what they said yesterday, Elena told Jake as they walked to the new meeting room. Their worlds are so stable and safe that they probably never had to develop the same survival abilities we have. What do you mean? Think about it. If you never face extreme cold, you don't need to develop ways to stay warm. If you never face extreme heat, you don't need ways to cool down. If your world never has disasters, you don't need to be able to heal quickly or survive injuries. They entered a larger room than before. This one looked more like a medical facility, with strange machines and scanning equipment. 7 different alien species were present, all wearing what appeared to be protective suits. Dr. Vexahan was unlike any of the other aliens they had met. She was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to change color as she moved. Her eyes were huge and multifaceted like an insect's, and she had 6 arms that ended in delicate tool-like hands. "Fascinating," she said as the humans entered. Her voice was soft and musical. "You actually walk upright in this low-gravity environment. Most species from high-gravity worlds cannot adapt to different conditions." "Earth's gravity is low?" Jake asked. "Compared to most inhabited worlds, yes. Your planet's gravity is 30% lower than the galactic average. Yet you have developed dense bone structure and strong muscles. This suggests your world has other challenges that require physical strength." Dr. Vexahan gestured to a series of comfortable chairs surrounded by scanning equipment. "Would you be willing to allow us to perform some basic medical scans? We promise they are completely safe." Jake looked at his team. Marine Sergeant Tony White stepped forward. "I'll go first, sir. I've been through worse things than alien medical scans." Tony was a big man with scars on his hands and arms from years of training and combat. He had volunteered for this mission because he wanted to represent Earth's military forces. "Please sit here," Dr. Vexahan said, indicating a chair. "We will begin with basic scans." Tony sat down, and immediately the alien machines came to life. Lights flashed and screens displayed information in alien languages. The assembled alien scientists began making excited sounds. "This is impossible," Dr. Vexahan said, studying the readings. "Your bone density is 3 times higher than it should be for your size. Your muscle tissue is incredibly dense. Your cardiovascular system is designed for extreme performance." "I work out a lot," Tony said with a grin. "Workout? Exercise? Physical training? I run, lift weights, do combat training." "Most humans do some form of exercise to stay healthy." The aliens exchanged glances. One of them, a creature that looked like a walking tree, spoke up. "We do not understand." "Why would you deliberately stress your body?" "To make it stronger," Tony replied. "If you don't use your muscles, they get weak. If you don't challenge your body, it can't handle difficult situations." Dr. Vexahan's color shifted to a pale green. "On our worlds, we have learned that physical stress damages the body. We use technology to avoid all forms of physical strain. That might work on your worlds," Tony said. "But on Earth, we face physical challenges every day. We need to be strong to survive." The next volunteer was Dr. Amy Foster, a botanist who had spent years studying plants in dangerous environments. She was a small woman with calloused hands and sun-weathered skin. The alien scanners revealed even more surprises. "Your skin has adapted to resist radiation damage," Dr. Vexahan observed. "Your eyes can function in both extremely bright and extremely dark conditions. Your respiratory system can process air with varying oxygen content." "I've worked in deserts, mountains, and jungles," Amy explained. "Different environments have different challenges. Hot sun, thin air, thick humidity, you learn to adapt." "But adaptation should take thousands of years of evolution," protested another alien scientist. "You are saying you adapt within your own lifetime?" "Sure," Amy said. "If I go to the mountains, my body produces more red blood cells to handle the thin air. If I go to the desert, my skin gets darker to protect against sun damage. If I go to a cold place, my body learns to conserve heat better." The aliens were becoming more agitated. Dr. Vexahan's color was now shifting rapidly between green and purple. "This violates all known biological principles," she said. "No species can adapt so quickly to different environments." Commander Steve Parker was next. He was a fitness instructor who had trained astronauts for extreme conditions. His body was a perfect example of human physical conditioning. "Dear gods," whispered one of the aliens as Steve's scans appeared on the screens. "His body contains multiple backup systems." "What do you mean?" Elena asked. "He has 2 kidneys but could survive with one. His liver can regenerate if damaged. His heart has multiple chambers and backup circulation systems. His brain has redundant neural pathways. His bones can heal themselves if broken." "Well, yes," Steve said. Most humans are built that way. We need backup systems because we get injured sometimes. You get injured regularly? Dr. Vexahan asked in horror. Not regularly, but it happens. I've broken bones, torn muscles, gotten cuts and bruises. Everyone has. That's just part of life. The alien scientists were now talking rapidly among themselves in their various languages. Jake could tell they were deeply disturbed by what they were learning. There's something else, Dr. Vexahan said slowly. Your brain scans show unusual activity patterns. You have high levels of chemicals associated with stress response, but you appear to be completely calm. We're used to stressful situations, Elena explained. Human life involves constant small stresses and occasional major ones. Our bodies and minds are designed to handle it. But stress chemicals damage the brain and body, insisted the tree-like alien. On our worlds, we have eliminated all sources of stress to maintain optimal health. That might be your way, Jake said, but stress actually makes us stronger. When we face challenges, our bodies release chemicals that help us think faster, move quicker, and perform better. Without some stress, we actually become weaker. Dr. Vexahan's color was now a deep purple. You are saying that you deliberately expose yourselves to harmful conditions in order to become stronger. That's exactly what we're saying, Tony replied. No pain, no gain, as we say on Earth. The final volunteer was Katie Stone, the medical officer. Her scans revealed the most shocking information yet. Your immune system is incredibly complex, Dr. Vexahan observed. You have antibodies for diseases that don't exist on any known world. Your body is prepared to fight infections that we have never encountered. Earth has a lot of diseases, Katie explained. Bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi. Our immune systems have to be ready for anything. But how do you survive with so many disease organisms on your planet? We get sick sometimes, but we recover. Each time we fight off a disease, our immune system gets stronger. Many of us are vaccinated against the worst diseases, which trains our immune systems to fight them. You deliberately expose yourselves to diseases? The horror in Dr. Vexahan's voice was unmistakable. Small amounts of dead or weakened disease organisms, yes. It's safer than waiting to encounter the full-strength versions. The room fell silent. The assembled alien scientists stared at the humans as if they were looking at the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Finally, Dr. Vexahan spoke. You are telling us that you live on a world so dangerous that you must maintain constant readiness for injury, disease, environmental extremes, and physical challenges. And instead of this destroying you, it has made you stronger than any species we have ever encountered. That's about right, Jake said. You are the most terrifying species we have ever met, Dr. Vexahan whispered. And you don't even realize it. The third day of meetings brought even more alien visitors to the station. Word had spread throughout the galaxy about the impossible humans from the Deathworld. Representatives from 12 different species had arrived, all wanting to understand how humans could possibly have developed civilization on such a dangerous planet. Lavara Mitchell, Earth's leading anthropologist, had arrived on the second shuttle from Earth. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and kind eyes who had spent her life studying human cultures. She had brought with her a collection of human art, music, literature, and recordings of human activities. Today we want to understand your culture, Ambassador Zeftai announced to the assembled group. Yesterday we learned that your bodies are designed for survival in impossible conditions. Today we hope to understand your minds. The main conference room had been expanded to accommodate the growing number of alien observers. Jake counted at least 30 different beings representing species from across the galaxy. Some looked like giant insects, others resembled living crystals, and a few appeared to be made of pure energy contained in mechanical suits. Dr. Mitchell set up her presentation equipment with help from Ryan Bell. I thought we'd start with human entertainment, she said. This should give you a good idea of what humans enjoy doing in their free time. She activated a holographic display showing various human sports and activities. The first image was of a football game, with players running into each other at high speed. The reaction from the aliens was immediate. Several of them made sounds of distress. One of the crystal beings actually dimmed its light in what appeared to be shock. "They are attacking each other?" gasped the creature that looked like a giant butterfly. "Why are they fighting?" "They're not fighting," Dr. Mitchell explained patiently. "This is a game called football. The players are trying to move a ball to the end of the field. Physical contact is part of the rules." But they are deliberately colliding with great force," observed Dr. Vexahan, who had remained for the cultural presentations. "This would cause serious injury to any rational species." "Sometimes players do get hurt," Dr. Mitchell admitted. "But they wear protective equipment and they train their bodies to handle the contact. Most injuries are minor." She changed the display to show a boxing match. The alien observers became even more agitated as they watched two humans deliberately punching each other. "This is clearly combat," announced Captain Zorthak. "Why are others watching and cheering?" "Boxing is a sport," Dr. Mitchell explained. "The fighters are skilled athletes who train for years to compete. There are rules to protect the fighters, and medical personnel are always present. You find violence entertaining?" asked one of the energy beings, its mechanical voice crackling with disbelief. "We find skill and courage entertaining," Dr. Mitchell replied. "These athletes push themselves to their limits. They demonstrate human capabilities under pressure." The next set of images showed various extreme sports: rock climbing, surfing, skydiving, and mountain climbing. With each new activity, the aliens became more horrified. "They are deliberately placing themselves in mortal danger," whispered the butterfly creature, "for no survival purpose." "We call these extreme sports," Dr. Mitchell said. "Humans enjoy challenging themselves against nature. We climb mountains because they're there. We surf because the ocean is powerful and beautiful. We skydive because flying is one of humanity's oldest dreams." Then Walsh, Earth Sports Coordinator, stepped forward. "These activities aren't just about danger," he said. "They're about pushing human limits. They help us discover what we're capable of. Every time someone climbs a higher mountain or surfs a bigger wave, they show the rest of us what's possible." "But why risk death for recreation?" asked Dr. Vexahan. "Because the risk makes it meaningful," Ben replied. "If there was no danger, there would be no accomplishment. The possibility of failure makes success valuable." The aliens began talking among themselves in their various languages. Jake could tell they were deeply troubled by what they were seeing. Dr. Mitchell continued her presentation with examples of human art and literature. She showed paintings depicting battles, storms, and dramatic scenes of human struggle against nature and each other. "Your art celebrates conflict and suffering," observed one of the insect-like beings. "On our worlds, art is created to promote peace and harmony." "Human art reflects human experience," Dr. Mitchell explained. "We create art about joy and beauty, but also about struggle and overcoming difficulties. Some of our greatest art comes from our darkest moments." She displayed images of famous paintings, scenes of war, natural disasters, and human tragedy, but also works showing triumph over adversity. "This painting shows a terrible battle," she said, pointing to a classical war scene. "But it also shows courage, sacrifice, and humans helping each other in desperate circumstances. This one shows a shipwreck, but also shows people working together to survive." The next part of the presentation focused on human music. Dr. Mitchell played various types of music, from classical to rock to folk songs. The aliens listened with growing confusion. "Much of your music is about loss, pain, and hardship," noted the butterfly creature. "Why do you create sounds that remind you of suffering?" "Because music helps us process emotions," Dr. Mitchell replied. "When we're sad, sad music helps us feel less alone. When we're angry, powerful music helps us release that energy. When we're happy, joyful music amplifies our joy." She played a recording of a blues song about overcoming hardship, followed by a rock song about fighting against injustice, and then a country song about surviving difficult times. "You celebrate the act of surviving?" asked Captain Zorthak. "We celebrate the strength it takes to survive," Dr. Mitchell confirmed. Every human has faced difficult times. Our music reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. The final part of the cultural presentation focused on human literature and movies. Dr. Mitchell showed clips from various films, including adventure movies, disaster films, and stories about humans overcoming impossible odds. The aliens watched in stunned silence as humans on screen battled natural disasters, fought against overwhelming enemies, and sacrificed themselves for others. You create fictional stories about placing yourselves in even more dangerous situations than you already face? Dr. Vexahan asked incredulously. We call them action movies, Dr. Mitchell said. They're exciting because they show humans at their best, facing impossible challenges and finding ways to win. She showed a clip from a disaster movie where humans work together to survive an earthquake, followed by a scene from a war movie showing soldiers helping wounded comrades. These stories inspire us, she explained. They show us examples of courage, teamwork, and never giving up. They remind us of what humans can accomplish when we work together. The final clip was from a horror movie. The aliens watched in shock as humans deliberately scared themselves for entertainment. You seek out fear as a form of pleasure? Gasped one of the crystal beings. Horror movies let us experience fear in a safe environment, Dr. Mitchell explained. They give us a way to practice being brave. After watching a scary movie, real-life fears seem less frightening. Ben Walsh added, it's like training for our emotions. Just like we train our bodies to be strong, we train our minds to handle fear and stress. The room fell silent. The assembled aliens stared at the humans as if they were looking at the most incomprehensible creatures in the universe. Finally, Ambassador Zeftai spoke. Let me understand this correctly. You live on a world so dangerous that constant vigilance is required for survival. Instead of trying to make your world safer, you have created entertainment that involves additional danger, pain, and fear. That's right, Dr. Mitchell said. You tell stories about facing even greater dangers than those you already face naturally. Yes. You create music about suffering and survival. Among other things, yes. And you consider fear and pain to be valuable, experiences that make you stronger. When faced in the right way, yes. Ambassador Zeftai looked around at her fellow aliens. We have reached a unanimous conclusion. Humans are not just biologically impossible. They are psychologically impossible. No rational species would choose to live as you do. And yet, Jake said quietly, here we are. We've survived, thrived, and reached the stars. Maybe what you call impossible is just another word for human. The aliens had no answer for that. On the fourth day, the mood on the station was tense. The Galactic Council had been meeting in closed sessions throughout the night, debating what to do about the humans. Jake Morrison could see the stress on the faces of his team as they gathered. For what might be their final meeting, Ambassador Zeftai entered the conference room with a formal delegation of 12 alien representatives. Her usual calm demeanor was gone, replaced by what looked like fear and determination. Captain Morrison, she began, her musical voice now cold and official. The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding humanity and your planet Earth. Jake felt his stomach drop. This didn't sound good. After careful consideration of all evidence presented, we have concluded that Earth must be classified as a Class 10. Quarantine world. Humanity will be restricted from galactic society for the safety and stability of all civilized species. Elena stepped forward. Ambassador, I don't understand. We've been peaceful in all our interactions. We've shared our knowledge openly. Why are you treating us as a threat? Dr. Rodriguez, Zeftai replied, you misunderstand the nature of the threat. We do not fear that you will attack us. We fear that your very existence will destroy everything we have built. Captain Zorthuk moved to stand beside the ambassador. Our civilizations are based on safety, predictability, and the elimination of risk. Your species represents the opposite of everything we value. Contact with you could destabilize our entire way of life. That seems like an extreme reaction, Jake said carefully. Is it? Zeftai challenged. Yesterday you showed us that you seek out danger for entertainment. You celebrate struggle and hardship. You train your bodies and minds to handle stress and pain. What happens when our young people learn about your way of life? Danny Rodriguez, Earth's chief engineer, had been quiet during most of the meetings, but now he spoke up. What exactly are you afraid of? We are afraid, said Dr. Vexahan, that our species will want to become like you. The humans exchanged glances. They hadn't expected this. For 10,000 years, Zeftai continued, galactic civilization has been built on a simple principle: eliminate danger, maximize safety, and preserve stability. Our technology, our societies, our entire way of life is designed to protect us from any form of risk or hardship. And it works, added one of the crystal beings. We have had peace for millennia. We have eliminated disease, natural disasters, and physical hardship. Our people live long, comfortable lives without fear. But, Danny said thoughtfully, you've also stopped growing, haven't you? The aliens fell silent. Your technology hasn't advanced significantly in thousands of years, Danny continued. Your art is predictable. Your societies are static. You've eliminated change along with danger. Change brings instability, Captain Zorthak rumbled. Stability brings peace, does it? Elena asked. Or does it bring stagnation? Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed, and the walls vibrated with some kind of massive impact. Solar flare event, came an automated voice from the station's computers. All ships prepare for emergency procedures. Electromagnetic pulse in 30 seconds. The aliens immediately began panicking. Their technology, designed for predictable conditions, was failing in the face of this unexpected solar activity. Jake watched as their systems shut down one by one, leaving them helpless. Ryan, Jake called to his engineer, can we help? Ryan Bell was already moving toward the alien control panels. The electromagnetic pulse is frying their circuits. Their systems aren't hardened against this kind of interference. Danny, what do you think? Danny Rodriguez was studying the alien equipment with the eye of someone who had spent years jury-rigging solutions to impossible problems. We might be able to reroute power through our ship's systems. Our equipment is designed to handle solar flares. But that's impossible, Doctor. Vexahan protested. No technology can function during a solar storm of this magnitude. Earth technology can, Ryan said with a grin. We designed it to work in Earth's chaotic electromagnetic environment. Solar flares are just another Tuesday for us. Jake looked around at the panicking aliens and made a decision. Do it? Save the station. What followed was 30 minutes of controlled chaos that the aliens would never forget. The human team worked with the kind of quick thinking and adaptability that comes from living on a world where problems require immediate solutions. Ryan and Danny tore apart sections of the alien equipment and rebuilt them using parts from their shuttle. Katie Stone organized evacuation procedures for the aliens whose life support was failing. Elena calculated new orbital mechanics to keep the station from drifting into dangerous radiation zones. Most impressive to the aliens was how the humans worked together. There was no panic, no arguing, no freezing up under pressure. Each person saw what needed to be done and did it, trusting their teammates to handle their own responsibilities. How are you doing this? Ambassador Zeftai asked as she watched. Danny literally rebuilt an alien power core using human tools and improvised parts. Practice, Danny replied without looking up from his work. On Earth, things break all the time. Weather knocks out power. Earthquakes damage equipment. Solar flares disrupt communications. You learn to fix things quickly with whatever you have available. But you're using our technology incorrectly, protested the alien engineer. Those modifications should not work. They shouldn't work according to your manuals, Elena said as she rerouted the station's navigation system through her tablet computer. But they work according to physics. Sometimes you have to ignore the manual and trust the science. By the end of the crisis, the human team had not only saved the station but had actually improved several of its systems. The alien technology was now more robust and adaptable than it had been before. As the solar storm passed and normal operations resumed, the aliens stared at the humans with a mixture of awe and terror. "You saved us," Captain Zorthek said quietly. "Of course we did," Jake replied. "That's what you do when people are in trouble. But we were about to exile you from the galaxy." "That doesn't matter during an emergency," Katie Stone said. "People needed help, we helped." Ambassador Zeftai sat down heavily in her chair. "We have been thinking about this all wrong." "What do you mean?" Elena asked. "We thought you were dangerous because you survived on a dangerous world. We thought contact with you would destabilize our civilization, but watching you work just now, I realized something." "What's that?" "Our civilization is already failing. We just haven't admitted it to ourselves." The other aliens nodded slowly. Dr. Vexahan spoke up. "We eliminated all challenges from our lives, but we also eliminated all growth. We haven't had a new idea in 1,000 years. We haven't solved a new problem in 10,000 years. When that solar flare hit," added the crystal being, "we were helpless. Our perfect technology failed at the first sign of something unexpected. We have become so dependent on predictability that we cannot handle the unknown." "But you can," Captain Zorthak observed. "You didn't just survive the crisis, you thrived in it. You turned a disaster into an opportunity to make things better." Jake looked around at his team and smiled. "That's what humans do. We adapt, we overcome, we turn problems into opportunities." "We have a proposal," Ambassador Zeftai said. "Instead of quarantining Earth, we would like to establish the Terran Adaptation Institute. Other species could come to learn from humanity how to handle uncertainty, solve problems, and adapt to change." "You want us to teach the galaxy how to be more human?" Elena asked. "We want you to teach us how to live without fear," Zeftai replied. "How to find strength in adversity, how to grow through challenge." Jake thought about it for a moment. "On one condition." "What's that?" "We don't change who we are. Earth stays Earth. We're happy to share what we know, but we're not going to pretend we're something we're not." "We wouldn't want you to," Dr. Vexahan said. "What makes you impossible is exactly what makes you valuable." As the meeting ended and the various alien delegations prepared to return to their worlds, Jake realized that everything had changed. Humanity had gone from being quarantined as a threat to being celebrated as teachers. "You know what the funny thing is?" Elena said as they watched the alien ships prepare to depart. "What's that?" "They think we're teaching them how to be more like us. But really, we're just showing them how to be more like themselves. Every species has the potential for growth and adaptation. They just forgot how to use it." Jake nodded. "Maybe that's the real lesson. It's not about surviving on a death world. It's about never stopping growing, never stopping trying, and never giving up on what's possible." In the months that followed, the Terran Adaptation Institute became the most popular destination in the galaxy. Species from across the stars came to Earth to learn what humans had always known, that the greatest strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head-on and discovering what you're truly capable of. And Earth, the galaxy's most bizarre death world, became known as the place where impossible things became possible, one challenge at a time.